Hello guys, hello everybody, hello, yo yo. So I'm glad that you guys made it. So anyway, before we start the class, remember to download the paper at the description box. The class will be conducted in English, so if you have anything that you don't understand in English, I can try to use Mandarin to explain, but it will be in English, okay? Because you know, I have students who are banana, who doesn't understand Mandarin, so I have to be in English. But if you don't understand my English, maybe I can try to explain in Mandarin as well. Okay, so we will wait for another maybe 2 more minutes to start the class. So meanwhile, you can just, you know, just print the paper out and then you just get ready. I know that if you are from TTC, you just ended your physics class. You can take a 2 minutes break to go to the toilet. In 2 minute times, we will start the class, okay? Hopefully that you guys done well for your Sejarah, BM, BI, and Moral. My student told me that the Sejarah paper was a bit hard. I don't know if you feel the same, but that's what they say lah. Okay. Maybe it's a question that you usually do it in your school, maybe. Okay. Hello, Mr. Liang J. Oh, meanwhile, let me tell you, Mr. Liang J has class tonight as well. If you need help for Max, he will be doing an YouTube live at 9:30 at his YouTube channel. So if you need Max revision, you can go to Liang J's Mathematics 9:30. Liang J, you got take physics. What do you mean by Liang J got take physics? No, Liang J will have an extra class later at 9:30, okay? Liang J got take by, I don't know lah. Hey, Mr. Yi Ching. Is Yi Ching having extra class too? If Yi Ching have extra class, I can tell. Okay, I don't think people who take bio will take science now, okay? But yeah. Liang J came to my channel to promote his channel. Okay. So 9:30 tonight. I don't know what paper he's doing, but you can try to go to his channel to see. Maybe you need help for Max. Liang J is my Max teacher also. So conclusion is Liang J is very old. Liang J is my teacher that helped me to score A in my Max. Okay. Okay, anyway, let's start the class then. Hopefully you have your paper with you already. We will do Mrsm 2022 this year. The question in Mrsm has a lot of chapters that you have to focus in this year SPM. Okay, now the first question usually in your paper 2 first question is either from your Form 4 Chapter 2 or Form 4 Chapter 3 or Form 4 Chapter 4. So usually it's this lah, okay? So if you want to focus on the question 1, which is only 6 marks, you can try to read Form 4 Chapter 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now diagram 1 shows the Mrsm species that live in the freshwater pond. This is Form 4 Chapter 2 question. Okay, now Mrsm species is a question that it came out quite a few in this year's state paper. So if you never studied about Mrsm species before, maybe you have to focus this year. So for Mrsm species, they will have a fixed shape, and the outer layer, we will do labeling first. In biology, the first thing that you have to know is the label part. Okay, the label over here, this one is actually the cilia. Okay, this is the cilia. This one is the contractile vacuole. And then we have nucleus in every cell, but Mrsm species is very special because they have 2 nucleus. The 2 nucleus, one is bigger, one is smaller. The bigger nucleus is known as macronucleus. The smaller one, this is the smaller one, is called micronucleus. Okay, so K is the same as a sun-like structure, right? The one that looks like sun in Mrsm species is always the contractile vacuole. In amoeba species, there's no star shape for contractile vacuole. Okay, now for K, we can write again. It's called contractile vacuole. Okay, it's called contractile vacuole. So L as a label is the cilia, so you can relabel again. This is the cilia. Okay, now as you can see, there's another thing inside as well. Can you see this? This is actually the food vacuole. In every species, Paramecium species or amoeba species, they will have food vacuole. How do we differentiate whether they are food vacuole or they are contractile vacuole in amoeba species? Food vacuole has food inside. Can you see there's dot dot dot? Okay, there's food inside means that there will be food vacuole. Okay, we're gonna revise a little bit on the food vacuole because if the question is amoeba species, they will ask you about phagocytosis. It means that how does the species consume the food? It's called phagocytosis. To digest the food, the food vacuole will fuse with a thing called lysosome. Okay, now what does this lysosome do? Lysosome will secrete an enzyme called lysozyme. Lysozyme. If you don't want to write lysozyme, you can actually write hydrolytic enzyme if you don't want to write lysozyme. But my preference is to write lysozyme because lysosome secrete lysozyme is easier to remember. Teacher, why physics and bio class at the same time? No, at different time. I waited the physics class to end only and start the extra class, right? Okay, I count the time properly already. 12:30 you end your physics, 12:30 you start your bio class. Okay, now done with this, we're going to look at name K and L. We have named it already. K is a contractile vacuole, L is a cilia. Okay, now they usually will ask you what is the function of the label part. Now they ask you the function of L. L, cilia. Okay, what is the function of cilia? Cilia usually for Paramecium species to move and for them to engulf food as well. So we have to call it as a rhythmic contraction or rhythmic rotation. In Paramecium species, you can write they will beating of cilia also can. Beating of cilia for movement also correct. So for L, you can write beating of cilia to enable movement. By the way, if you think that I speak very fast, you can always wind back to watch the thing, okay? If you think that I'm very fast, okay, because I will just, you know, follow my own speed. Okay, explain what will happen to Paramecium species when structure K fails to function. Okay, now, structure K is contractile vacuole. What is the function of contractile vacuole? Contractile vacuole, it's to carry out a process called osmoregulation. Okay, what does osmoregulation means? When the terms ends with ION, it means this is a process. What does osmo means? Osmo means water. Regulation means what? Regulation means to regulate. That is to control water balance in the cell. It's called osmoregulation. Physics class until 1. Oh, because he told me until 12:30 yesterday. Means he lied to me. Okay? He told me at 12:30, but it's okay lah. You can always watch back the replay. Okay, now, since we know that Paramecium species, contractile vacuole, is to control osmoregulation. Right now, the contractile vacuole cannot function. If they cannot function, what will happen next is they will burst. Okay, no matter whether in hypertonic or hypotonic, they will burst because amoeba species and Paramecium species, they usually live in normal water, which is your waterfall, your pond area. You will find Paramecium species. So over here, we're gonna write that osmoregulation cannot occur. And then contractile vacuole cannot contract to expel excess water out of cell, causes the cell to burst. Causes the cell to burst. So how does it work when there is a contractile vacuole? When water diffuses into the contractile vacuole and when it reaches to the maximum size, the contractile vacuole, they will contract and expel water out. If they don't contract and expel water out, the cell will die, okay? So this is how the contractile vacuole works. Next, D, state the type of reproduction for Paramecium species when the environmental is not suitable. Not suitable means what? Not suitable, it means they are referring to dry or there's no food or acidic. Okay, it's called not suitable, or no matter whether it's a Paramecium species or amoeba species, the not suitable refers to there's no water because as I mentioned, it lives in water, right? When there's no food, when there's no oxygen and when the surrounding is acidic, it's called as not suitable. Type of reproduction, we have two types. We have sexual and asexual. But for Paramecium species, they can carry out both. In not suitable situation, they will carry out sexual reproduction. It is known as a conjugation. Conjugation. Conjugation means what? They will exchange the nucleus between the Paramecium species and then they will have two babies out. So this is under sexual reproduction. Asexual, it will be binary fission. So binary fission, it means 1 into 2 is called binary fission. So you have to know type of reproduction is sexual or asexual. Amoeba species, they only have binary fission or forming spore. Amoeba species is 1. Okay, Paramecium species, they will have 2, conjugation or binary fission, either one. Okay, now done with this question. Okay, if you have any question that you want to ask, you can write it down, even though that the YouTube is delayed. So maybe I will only see your question after 30 seconds or 1 minute later. But you can still ask me any question now, okay? Now, question 2, this is under Form 4. Chapter 8. Okay, this is under Form 4 Chapter 8. It's a chapter where people don't like the chapter the most when it comes to animals, because this chapter we have animals, we also have human. Okay, animal and also human. Diagram 2 shows the respiratory structure of frog, and they ask you what is X. Obviously this one shows a skin, right? So if you don't know the scientific word of skin, you can write skin. Okay, but the scientific word of skin, it is known as cutaneous. Okay, write it over here, like this is skin. In the scientific word, we call this as cutaneous. You actually learn it in your textbook as well. Okay, now, frog can use 2 areas to carry out gases exchange. Number 1 is through skin. Number 2 is through the lung. This is the lung. Lung has another scientific name as well. It is known as buccopharyngeal. I don't know if you remember, okay, it's called buccopharyngeal. Okay, it's known as buccopharyngeal. So if you don't know in exam, if you really don't remember at all, you can write lung, you can write skin, because it's still correct in English, but in scientific word, it's called cutaneous and buccopharyngeal. It's the one that carry out gases exchange. Explain one adaptation of structure X. Adaptation means what? Adaptation means characteristic. If you want to write the characteristic of frog, fish, human, or even insects, you can write the same characteristic. If you don't know, guys, try to write the easiest one, which is one cell tick. You know, everybody know one cell tick. Just write one cell tick. If you don't know one cell tick, you can write moist surface. If you don't know moist surface, you can write increased surface area, numerous in number. So there must be something that you can write. If you don't know, just write one cell tick. Remember, this is an explanation. When you write one cell tick, you have to explain your answer. Usually, one cell tick explanation comes with rapidly, easily, or efficiently. If you want to write one cell tick, but you only left 2 weeks, guys. If you don't know, just choose one cell tick, okay? If you don't know anything for biology, just write one cell tick. So this one you can write one cell tick, or you can write thin wall also can, okay? Whichever you prefer, You can say highly permeable to allow respiratory gases to diffuse easily. So as I mentioned, if you don't want to write easily, what you can write rapidly, or you can write effectively also can, okay, whichever you prefer. So choose the easiest one cell tick. If you want to write numerous in number, you can say increased surface area to allow gases exchange to happen more efficiently also can. So remember to choose the word to write. One cell tick, you need to write easily or rapidly, okay? Okay, next, during the drought season, the frog are exposed to extreme temperature. Drought, it means dry, this one, it means very dry. There's no water. Explain how this situation affects the gases exchange at structure X. Because the skin of a frog, I don't know if you touched before, is moist because there's a lot of mucus that they trap gases. Right now, it's very dry. So when it's very dry, they will start to use their lung to carry out gases exchange because they need to survive through the season, right? If the skin is too dry, maybe either they will die or they will use their lung to carry out gases exchange. So the gases exchange through X, it will decrease because it's not moist anymore. They cannot trap gas anymore. There's no gases exchange. So what you can write is, you can say that the skin becomes dry, and then you can say the gases cannot dissolve into skin. Gases exchange cannot occur. Gases exchange cannot occur. Okay, so this is question 2. Okay, anyone has question, you can ask me. If it's not that, I'm going to continue, or just continue, guys. Okay, or just continue. Okay, now question 3. Sheep can have various color of wool. The color of wool is controlled by a pair of alleles. Diagram 3.1 shows how 2 different colors of wool were inherited. White wool is dominant. Okay, this is under Form 5 Chapter 11. Okay, this is Form 5 Chapter 11. So right now you can see that they say that white is a dominant. Okay, what is a dominant? When it comes to dominant, you have to know it will be capital letter. If it's a recessive, it has to be a small letter. Okay, this is a capital letter. Right now, white is a dominant. Black is a recessive. Okay, now black, we know that it's 2 small g. So confirm that this one has to be 2 small g, because to show they are recessive, it has to be 2 small letter. It has to be 2 small g. And then obviously this one, it has to be 2 small g, right? Because it's black, right? Now we have to think about it. Whether this P is a hetero or homo. Hetero or homo means what? Hetero means different, big G, small g. Homo means big G, big G. So which one is more possible? The answer is big G, small g. Okay, why is it big G, small g? Because you can see that this one is black. To have a black babies, you need to have 1 small g from the white, 1 small g from the black. Only you will form into 2 small g. If this is a capital GG, right? This one confirm some other ship one, not P1, okay? Same as human, guys. The logic is same as human. So it has to be big G, small g. Only that this ship over here is big G, small g. This is also big G, small g, because once you have 1 dominant, they will show the dominant characteristic, because dominant is the king. So when you have king, then we'll show the king characteristic. Okay, so this is big G, small g lah. Okay, now we have the answer for P and Q already. Remember, chapter 11 is also one of the important chapter that you have to know for this exam as well. If you don't really understand what is chapter 11, I have a video that explains chapter 11. I mean, it's I think 43 minutes, something like that. You can go and watch it, then you can understand what is the dominant, what is the recessive, something like that lah. But you have to train it. Okay, this chapter 11 you have to train it. Next one, state Mendel's law of segregation. Okay, Mendel has 2 laws, first law and second law. First law is called law of segregation. Second law is called law of independent assortment. What does segregation means? Segregation means separation. When they want to form a gamete, it will carry out law of segregation, which is under meiosis. Okay, give you example, yeah. We have P and Q just now, right? So P is big G, small g. Q is small g, small g. This is parent's genotype. They want to form into gamete. Okay, this is parent genotype. Okay, they will form into gamete. So to form into gamete, they need to have law of segregation. So how do they want to separate? This one, they will have big G. This one will have small g. This is small g, this is small g. This one is what we call as the law of segregation. It's a separation which we call this as meiosis. Law of segregation. So the allele will be separated. They will only carry 1 allele. So when we write in sentence, we can write that members of each pair of allele separate during formation of gamete by meiosis, and then only one of the allele pair is inherited in a single gamete. Single gamete. So one of the way for you to remember better is you can just remember as first law, law of segregation, it involves only 1 alphabet, which is G. Okay, if it's a second law, they will involve 2 alphabets, such as G, G, T, T. Okay, that will be second law. Second law is called independent assortment. They will have different arrangement in metaphase 1, so it's called independent assortment. So when you see only 1 alphabet, this one is meiosis, or this is the first law. When you see 2 alphabet, G, G, T, T, that will be second law. So it's one of the way for you to remember whether it's first law or second law lah. Okay, now done with this already, we're gonna move to the next question. This one is said the inheritance of feather color for Andalusian chicken is controlled by co-dominant allele. What does co-dominance mean? Co-dominant, it means both are dominant. It's called co-dominant. In human, what are co-dominant? Blood group is a co-dominant. But for chicken, it can be anything lah, because they give you a chicken, right? So for human, co-dominant, it can only be IAIB, which is blood group. A and B both are dominant. It's called co-dominant. The allele for white feather is AW, and the allele for black feather is AB. Okay, this is white. The W refers to white, the B refers to black lah. Okay, diagram 3.2 shows the parent of Andalusian chicken with white feather and Andalusian chicken with black feather. Okay, so they will have a combination over here. As you can see, white and black, they form into black-white, right? I mean, this is a mix, right? Okay, it's a mix. So, quite obvious that we have no hetero over here. It can only be dominant because they didn't say that they can be hetero or homo, right? So, you will assume that it's dominant, okay, which is a homo. So, this one will be AW, AW. This is AB, AB. A mixture of white and black. Because, white and black, right? You have to write AW, AB, okay? AW, AB. So we will have to form this thing over here by writing it based on 3.2. Determine the parents' genotype, gamete, and F1 with white feather parents if a white feather parents and a black feather parents will breed together. So white, it's AW, AW. This one is AB, AB, okay? Black, white, and then the gamete, just now we say, right, to form gamete, they will undergo a process called meiosis. So this is AW. If it's the same, we can only choose to write one time is enough, okay? If it's the same, just write one time. This one is the same thing as well, AB. This process is known as meiosis, okay? If you need to write for your essay question for inheritance, you have to write meiosis, okay? And then your genotype will be AW, AB. AWAB. So this is the answer. So it's not very hard. Just put them together, then you will have your answer with you already. So this is AWAB. So for chapter 11, you have to know by yourself, okay? Next, question 4. 4.1 shows a flower. 4.2 shows the formation of pollen grain. This is under Form 5, Chapter 6. Okay, I don't know how much you guys spend time studying Form 5, Chapter 6, but it's under plants reproduction. You have to know plants reproduction as well. Okay, they ask you, label M at the structure that produces pollen grain. It produces pollen grain. Teacher, black, white, then why not A, B, A, W? Actually, when we write the answer, we have to follow the name. But when you form this situation, then you have to follow this one. But actually, if you want to follow the better one, you always refers to the black, white lah, okay? So the better answer is actually A, B, A, W, but the answer given in this state paper is A, W, A, B. But the truth is you have to follow black, white lah. The black, white is A, B, A, W lah, because the answer given is A, W, A, B for this state paper. But generally, you have to understand you have to write the name first, which is black first and then white. But if you form by this, then it's white, black lor. Okay, now back to this again, yeah. What is that? Okay, now we're gonna label this thing for the plants. So in this diagram, we have male and female because plant, it can be male, it can be male, it can be female over here. Okay, we're gonna label male part first. This male part, this entire thing here is known as stamen, S-T-A-M-E-N. The top part here, it is known as anther. The bottom part is called filament. Okay, female part, this entire thing is called carpel or pistil, okay, whichever one you want to write carpel also can, pistil also can. And then the top part is called stigma. Okay, Ling Tao, Tao, you are here. Okay, next we have style. This one we have ovary, ovule. Why you graduate already, you still want to see my live class. Okay, next we will talk about the function of it. Okay, now we have anther. What is the function of anther? Anther is to produce pollen grain. This is to produce pollen grain. So stamen is the entire thing, filament is the whole anther. This is whole anther. And then stigma is sticky. Yeah, stigma is sticky. Style is the tube where the pollen grain will move downwards. Ovary contains of ovule. Okay, next, they ask you to label M at the structure that produces pollen grain, right? So it can be this, or this. Okay, whichever anther also can. 想念what? 想念 biology. So it's either one also can. This, or this also can. Whichever you can label as M. Remember to label M. Don't label X, Y, Z, guys. We always follow the question. If the question want M, you just write M. Don't write X, Y, Z. Don't choose your favorite alphabet to write. Name M. M is anther. So we have mentioned that M is anther. So you can write by yourself. M is anther. Okay, based on 4.2, explain the formation of pollen grain. Now this question is very kind because they give you a diagram. So from this diagram, you can explain your answer. What you have to know is you just have to fill in what is the process that they carry out, and then what do they form into, because they actually give you microspore, mother cell, tetrad, and pollen grain, right? Okay, now microspore, mother cell, every mother cell, no matter whether it's male or female plants, every mother cell, it has to be 2n, which is diploid in number, okay? Every mother cell, it has to be 2n. So before they form into this microspore mother cell, they come from pollen sac actually. They come from pollen sac. When you cut the anther into half, they will have 4 pollen sac. Every pollen sac, it contains of many microspore mother cell. Okay, you can refer back to your, if you have in the book. So they will look like a butterfly for pollen sac. They have 4 in one anther. So this pollen mother cell, they will undergo meiosis 1 and also meiosis 2, which is a complete meiosis. They will form into a tetrad. So over here, the process they carry out is meiosis. Meiosis. So since once they carry out meiosis, from 2n, it will form into n. 2n, they will form into n. And then, as you can see, from this tetrad actually means 4. So from this one thing, when there are 4, they will separate to form into 4 pollen grains. So the other side, we have a separation. This is a separation, or you can say develop also can. Either you want to say separate or they want to develop into pollen grain also can. In pollen grains, they will have 2 nucleus. These 2 nucleus, they have different function. I mean, they have different function, they have different name now, okay? Usually, they don't ask you to label, but you have to know there is 2 names. Because the 2 nucleus, okay, this one is the generative nucleus. The other one is a tube nucleus. Okay, what is the function of these 2 nucleus? Because when they carry out double fertilization, the tube nucleus has to go into the style first, in the stigma to the style first. The tube nucleus will start to form a pollen tube. Generative nucleus, it contains of 2 male gamete. Contains of 2 male gamete. That's why it's called double fertilization. They will fertilize 2 times. It's called double fertilization. So remember, in pollen grains, they have 2 nucleus. Generative nucleus and tube nucleus. Generative nucleus, they have 2 male gamete. They will undergo mitosis to form into 2 male gamete, and then they will carry out double fertilization. Okay, now we have to form into a sentence, guys. Explain the formation. Since we say, right, if you know what you have to write in with the function, literally you can form a sentence. So whenever you see biology question, don't give up, okay? Don't leave blank. Because once you leave blank, your answer confirm is wrong. But you try to write something. Maybe you write a microspore mother cell. Okay, you see 4, you remember it's meiosis. Okay, form into meiosis. You get 1 mark already, guys. Just have to know the process of it. Okay, try to write anything that you know for biology. Don't leave it blank. Try every chances. Don't leave it blank. Once you leave it blank, you have no answer. I mean, you have no marks out, obviously. So you can just write microspore mother cell undergo meiosis to form 4 haploid microspore cell. Next, you can say each cell in tetrad develop into pollen grain that consists of 2 nucleus, which are tube nucleus and generative nucleus. Tube nucleus and generative nucleus. Okay, so this is how they form a pollen grain. If you didn't write what is the name of the nucleus, it's totally fine as well, because it's only 2 marks. You can say that each cell in tetrad develop into pollen grain. You full stop over there, your answer is still 2 marks, okay? So remember, try to write anything that you know in the question. Don't leave it blank, okay? Next, done. To look at C. A flowering plant is infected by fungus that damage the whole stigma. Okay, now stigma is sticky, which we have mentioned just now. Stigma is sticky. In your opinion, can these plants produce seed? Explain your answer. Okay, obviously cannot. Okay, the answer is cannot. Because when they are infected by fungus, your stigma is damaged. Your pollen grain cannot fall onto the stigma. They cannot stick to it, right? Once they cannot stick to it, there will be no double fertilization. No double fertilization means there will be no seed. Because there will be no double fertilization, everything will not happen. Actually okay, when you see infected, damage, malfunction, it will be a negative answer because you cannot happen with the process, right? So what you have to explain when you see this kind of question, infected by what, malfunction, your answer is the function. You in front, you add unable, cannot function, okay, which is cannot function. So your answer, it will be like that when it's negative statement, okay? Hope can come out double fertilization. I'll be a happy boy if that come out in SPM. Double fertilization came out in I think 3 years ago for essay question, 3 years ago SPM, but chances is still there. Okay, so we have to say seed cannot form. Okay, your answer needs to be a negative statement, means cannot, unable, whatever cannot happen. Okay, seed cannot form. This is your first mark. Second one, you can say pollen grain cannot be transferred to stigma. Germination unable to occur. Double fertilization cannot carry out. Okay, if you want to explain in detail, you can say that the double fertilization, okay, the double fertilization has what formation, okay, cannot carry out, where triploid endosperm tissue and diploid zygote cannot form. As you can see, when I say that your question is a negative statement, your answer needs to have cannot, 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 cannot. So literally is the function itself, you add cannot in the middle or in front or at the back, whichever lah, okay, as long as you show cannot, okay, cannot, unable also can. Hi Jackson Wang Fai, referring to me, okay. Okay, so what is triploid endosperm tissue? Triploid endosperm tissue, it actually form from your male nucleus and your female nucleus, okay? So it's actually 2N plus N. They will form into 3N, which is the triploid nucleus. Diploid zygote is actually N plus N. So one of the male gamete will fertilize with the egg cell, they will form into a diploid zygote. The 2N here refers to polar nuclei. The N refers to male gamete. So 2 polar nuclei and 1 male gamete, they will form into 3N. 3N is triploid. Okay, male nuclei and egg cell form into 2N. 2N is diploid zygote. Okay, if you don't know double fertilization, you can go through a bit, but actually we have explained 30 to 40% already actually. So second point or third point, I choose one since it's only 3 marks. Second point or third point? No, actually, because in this case, right, when pollen grain cannot be transferred to stigma equals to germination. So, I mean, of course, you can choose one, but if you want to put it into one sentence also can lah. Pollen grain cannot transfer to stigma, hence germination cannot occur. Because pollen grain into stigma is called germination. So whichever you prefer lah. So the sequence of it is pollination, germination, double fertilization. Pollen grain onto stigma, it's pollination. We actually germination just now. It's pollination, okay? It's pollination. And then next, germination. Third is double fertilization. So it comes in a sequence if you want to carry out double fertilization. So it's pollination, germination, double fertilization. We have 3 in sequence. Pollination, germination, double fertilization, okay? Okay, now done with this, we're going to look at the next question, question 5. This is a mangrove swamp. Mangrove swamp is under Form 5, Chapter 9. Okay, 5.1 shows a type of tree that can be found in mangrove swamp ecosystem. So based on 5.1, Name the type of root system shown. This one here, it's a very significant thing in mangrove area. We call this as prop roots. Okay, we call this as prop roots. Okay, there are three different roots in mangrove system. I'm not too sure whether you remember there are 4 different species in mangrove ecosystem. The 4 species comes in a sequence. The sequence of 4 species is known as ASRB. You can remember as a sexy red bull in sequence, but of course please don't write a sexy red bull, guys. In biology it's called Avicennia species, Soneraceae species, Rhizophora species, and Bougueria species. Okay, so we have pioneer and successor species. Pioneer is the one that started the process, it's called pioneer species. Avicennia and Soneraceae is the pioneer species. Rhizophora and Bougueria is the successor. Successor means that they take over, we call this a successor, yeah. Avicennia species and Soneraceae species, they will have the same root. The root is known as cable root. It's called long extensive cable root, means they are long, so that because they are near to the seaside, when they have long cable root, they don't collapse. It's called cable root lah. Rhizophora species, they have prop roots. So the one that you see from this diagram is the Rhizophora species. Bougueria species, they have buttress root. Remember, it's buttress, not buttless, guys. It's buttress root. Avicennia and Soneraceae species, cable root is to prevent them from collapsing. They also have another type of root. The other type of root, we call this as Eumataphos. Eumataphos is a breathing root. So cable root, prop root, buttress root is to anchor themselves so that they don't collapse. Eumataphos is the root to carry out gases exchange during high tide. It's a breathing root for Eumataphos. Okay, Eumataphos is a breathing root. Okay, to breathe is called Eumataphos. In this diagram, we cannot see Eumataphos lah. Okay. Next, mangrove trees live in a habitat where the area is exposed to high light intensity. Based on statement above, explain the adaptation of mangrove tree to continue its survival in the habitat. Okay, the question has this main word. They say high light intensity. So we cannot say what buttress root because it doesn't make sense, nothing to do with high light intensity. So what we can say is, remember, adaptation means characteristic. We can write they have thick cuticle on the leaf. The leaf has thick cuticle, they can prevent excess water loss. Or you can say they have sunken stomata. Okay, what is a sunken stomata? It means that the stomata is deep inside. It's called sunken because usually the leaf surface, okay, imagine this is the leaf, right? Okay, they have a lot of layer. The stomata is over here. Usually, okay, I cannot draw very well, guys. Okay, but imagine like something like that. This is the area of stomata usually. But when it comes to sunken stomata, it's deep inside. It means that it will be like that. Over here, we have stomata. So this is the hole over here. So sunken stomata is deep inside. We call it a sunken stomata. So when it's deep inside to the cell, they will have lesser water loss. Okay, either you want to write thick cuticle, if you want to write sunken stomata also can. Okay, whichever you prefer. Like, remember, explanation, you need to explain your answer. So you can say leaves have thick cuticle. They are able to reduce excess water loss. So the thick cuticle, as I mentioned, or you can write sunken stomata. Sunken stomata means their inside is called sunken stomata. Okay, the other one, you can say the leaf is thicker. We call this as what do you call? Succulent leaves. Okay, succulent means that they can store water. It's called succulent. Not only mangrove tree are succulent, even cactus is also succulent. Aloe vera is also succulent. Succulent means that they have a lot of area where can store water. Okay, in Mandarin we call this as 多肉植物. Okay, cactus, aloe vera, the leaf or the stem is thick, they can store water. It's called succulent. So you can say they have succulent, S-U-C-C-U-L-E-N-T, succulent leaf to store water. Okay, they can store water. Succulent, they can store water. Okay, next we will move to the next question. Actually, because the question says highlight intensity, right? It's just to prevent excess water loss. If it's not mangrove tree, the question asks about cactus or aloe vera, we will use the same answer as well. If it's cactus or aloe vera, we can share the same answer. Unless you want to just base on the mangrove tree, you can have other characteristics where they have viviparity seed. Viviparity means that the seed grow on the parent plant and then they will drop when they grow older, so that it will not be washed away by the water. It's called viviparity. There's a lot of characteristics in mangrove tree, okay? Next, 5.2 shows the zone in a mangrove ecosystem. Oh, this diagram, we have Yuma tuffles over here, we have buttress root as well. They say differentiate the zone Y and Z. Write your answer in the space provided. Okay, now we have 3 different zones over here. The first zone they show you is near to the seaside. We call it as coastal zone. It's near to the seaside. Y is the middle one. As you can see, it's obvious the middle one, right? So Y, we call this as middle zone. Y is called middle zone. Okay, and then Z is at the land, right? We call this as inland zone. Because there's less water, as you can see, this is the water, high tide, low tide, right? So as you can see, zone Z, they don't really get a lot of water, so we call this as inland zone. In the land, it's called inland zone. Middle is middle zone, so quite obvious that what you can understand over here. So we have said that we have 4 different species, right? The coastal zone, we have Avicennia and Sonoracea. Y is Rhizophora. Z is Bougueria species. Okay, when you spell Bougueria species, you need to make sure the Bougueria, B is capital letter, R is capital letter. When they spell Bougueria species, you know, when you pronounce correctly, you will spell correctly. Remember to pronounce as B-R-U, Bougueira. Bougueira. It's called Bougueria species. Please don't spell wrongly. A lot of time when they spell the word, they will spell the I and E the other way around. But remember, to pronounce it properly, you will spell it properly. It's called Bougueira species. Okay, now back to this. We have said that there's Yuma tuffles, right? The Yuma tuffles is here. This is Yuma tuffles. And Yuma tuffles, actually, they have the cable root at the side as well. There's many cable root lah. Okay, this will be the cable root, bit ugly, but yeah. And then this one is the prop root that we see just now. This is the buttress root. Hello, Mr. Wailing. Okay, so name the dominant species. Okay, we have seen the species already. In the middle zone, the species is called Rhizophora species. Rhizophora species. And then zone Z, we have Bougueira. As I mentioned, if you pronounce properly, you will spell properly. The R has to be capital letter, the B has to be capital letter, SP you need to have dot. Actually, in Form 5, when you learn a scientific word, you need to underline your scientific name, okay, which you underline separately. This one you underline, this one you underline, this one you underline, this one you underline, because we learn it in bio lab. We say that when we write any scientific word, we have to underline separately. The genus has to be capital letter, the species has to be small letter. Okay, this is what we learn in biology. Remember to underline if you write any species. Same as Paramecium species and Amoeba species. If your teacher want to deduct your mark, they can deduct your mark from there. So remember to underline separately. Okay, next. Oil spill threatens vast area of mangrove and coral reef in Brazil. Hundreds of pollution stretch across 2,400 kilometers of coastline, with scientists fearing contamination of food chain. Hundreds of kilometers of mangrove and coral reefs, as well as the humpback whales breeding grounds, are under threat from an oil spill that has been polluted for more than 2,400 kilometers from the Brazil northeastern coast in last 2 months. Okay, so the statement here says what? Oil spill. Oil spill is the one that threatened the food chain. Okay, oil spill. Okay, oil spill is the key. If you don't understand what is writing on top or the bottom, doesn't matter. Oil spill, guys. Oil spill. When there's a lot of oil on the area, it causes a threat. It's called oil spill threatens. Now, explain how the situation described in articles affects. This is affect. Sorry, type wrongly. Affects the respiration rate of mangrove tree roots in the coastal zone, as shown in 5.2. Okay, now respiration rate. We have mentioned in coastal zone, what do we have? We have Yuma tuffles, right? They will carry out gases exchange during high tide. Right now, when there is a lot of oil all of the eumatophores, it will be blocked. Okay, we have to understand how do they carry out gases exchange. Leaf, they have stomata, they can carry out gases exchange. For stem and roots, they will have a thing called lenticels. Lenticels is the pod at the stem and root. Okay, they are able to carry out gases exchange. Right now, there is oil. The oil, they will block at the lenticels, at the stem, and also at the root. There will be no gases exchange. Again, this situation, is it a negative statement? Is it bad? It's bad, right? Obviously, it's bad. It's a bad thing, right? Oil spill is never, it's a attractant. It's never a good thing. So your answer, okay, is 3 marks. 1 of your mark have to write respiration rate increases or decreases. That will be your first mark. Again, as I mentioned, don't leave your question blank. You know something, you write something, at least you got a few marks, right? I mean, don't blank. When you blank, you have nothing. So the respiration rate, of course, decreases because it's a bad statement. So that will be your first mark. And then we have seen because that the lenticels is blocked by the oil, there will be no gases exchange. Okay, so we can say rate of respiration decreases. Oil will cover eumatophores of mangrove tree. It blocks the lenticels at root. Why Junhan? How did you? Well, really can send money one. Now that I know. Now that I know that you can send money. I mean, I didn't know that. Thanks, thanks for your contribution, okay. Anyway, for real. Yes, for real. He's doing this for real. Couldn't agree. You all really Okay. Next, question 6. Question 6 is Form 4, Chapter 9. Form 4, Chapter 9. Okay, Form 4, Chapter 9 is a chapter that you have to understand good as well because this question did not came out last year. So, maybe this year, you have a higher chances of coming out. Okay, 6.1 shows a digestive system. We're going to do some labeling here as well. The first label that we have to know is the mouth. Okay, we're going to label everything from here. Mouth, and then they will ask you to label P and Q, right? P, the triangular thing, is liver, and then Q is gallbladder. 榜一大哥你当然是榜一大哥咯，都没有人给钱除了你之外 Of course nobody give me money 嘛 No lah, he used his own money lah. Look, excuse me. Huh? You are really funny. Okay, anyway, next we have pancreas. The one that looks like a leaf is called pancreas. And then we have large intestine, but usually in digestive system, we don't talk about large intestine. We talk about small intestine. Small intestine has 3 parts, which is the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. But in biology, we don't care about jejunum. We care about duodenum and ileum. This is a duodenum. And then this one is ileum. Okay, we don't write small intestine for labeling. We have to write ileum for labeling because for small intestine, you have to only write when you talk about absorption of nutrients. Then you can say absorb into the small intestine. But usually, then you cannot write small intestine. You have to write ileum for label part. Okay, now duodenum is usually between the stomach and the large intestine because it's the first part of your small intestine. So that will be the duodenum. Okay, now a lot of people when you look at the diagram, right, esophagus, I think you all know, right? Esophagus. It's esophagus. You all should know esophagus. Okay, now when we look at this thing, we have to know liver and gallbladder. What is the difference? Because people always tend to mix up liver and gallbladder function. Liver function is to secrete bile. Okay, is to secrete bile. Gallbladder is to store bile. Remember, bladder, you know, urinary bladder. Bladder is to store urine. So this gallbladder is to store bile, storage of bile. Bile function is to emulsify fats into lipid droplet. That is the function of bile. Okay, and then pancreas something that you have to take note as well, because pancreas is known as the double gland. What does double gland mean? Double gland means that they can secrete enzyme and they can secrete hormone. We have endocrine gland and exocrine gland. Endocrine means hormone. Okay, what are the hormone? We have insulin and glucagon. Okay, exocrine gland refers to enzyme. What are the enzyme? LAT, the LAT enzyme. L stands for lipase. A is amylase, but we have to write pancreatic amylase. Pancreatic amylase. T is trypsin, okay? T is trypsin, yeah? Lipase, amylase, trypsin, okay? The function of insulin and glucagon, you also have to know, because we learned for many times saying that insulin and glucagon is to control blood sugar level. Insulin is to decrease blood glucose level, okay? Decrease, you know, diabetic patient, they inject insulin is to decrease blood sugar level. Glucagon is to increase blood glucose level. In normal human, we have insulin, we also have glucagon, okay? Lower and higher. Okay, now, done with this, we will go to the next question. A1 done already. We're going to look at A2. Organ Q of an adult was surgically removed. Explain the effect of to the digestion of lipids. Okay, Q is a gallbladder. Again, I say right, negative statement. What is your answer? Negative answer. With what? Cannot, unable, malfunction. Remember, when it's being removed, the gallbladder cannot store bowel. Cannot store bowel means what? Cannot emulsify fats. Your fats cannot form into lipid droplet. Okay, so your answer will be bowel cannot be stored. Lipid cannot be emulsified into lipid droplet. So, as I mentioned, cannot, because surgically remove means no more. Okay, lipid droplet is actually to increase surface area for the enzyme lipase to work on it. So when you have more lipid droplet, it means that the lipid will be easier to be emulsified, easier to be hydrolyzed. Bowel has to use emulsify. This is L, yeah. Bowel you have to use emulsify, and then enzyme you have to use hydrolyze. Okay, bowel is emulsify, and then enzyme is everything hydrolyzed. Okay, next we will look at B. Doctor recommended diabetes mellitus patient to replace white rice with brown rice in daily diet. Diagram 6.2 shows a nutrition information for 100 gram of brown rice and white rice. Brown rice and white rice has different glycemic index. The GI measure how quick or slow a carbohydrate containing food raises the blood glucose level after consuming or consumption. Okay, brown rice, they have a lot of fiber, 1.6 compared to white rice, okay, it's more by 1.2, and then the GI index is 68, the GI index for white rice is 73. So, explain why the doctor gave the recommendation. Of course, usually when the question says diabetic patient, we don't have to explain about the fiber, because diabetic nothing to do with the fiber, right? So we will just explain about the GI, the glycemic index lah. So we say that lower, it means that they will increase slower. Higher index, it means it will increase faster. So that's why the doctor will recommend the diabetic patient to consume brown rice, because they don't increase the blood sugar level quickly. So when they increase slowly, they don't spike up the blood sugar level in the body itself. So that's why you eat brown rice for diabetic patient. So for you, actually it's okay. Whatever rice that you eat is totally fine. It doesn't really matter as long as you eat your rice lah. So you can say that brown rice has lower glycemic index than white rice. So this first sentence, from your observation, you get 1 mark. Again, okay, don't leave it blank. Then by observation, you get 1 mark already. Well, don't have to know anything, just write this one. You know what is it, right? Next, you can say that carbohydrate hydrolyze slowly and glucose produce is lesser. these avoid blood glucose level increases quickly. These avoid blood glucose level to increase quickly. Okay, so done with this, we're gonna move to the next question, guys. Of course, as I mentioned, if you think I'm too fast, you can move back and then you watch again. You can watch 10 times if you want to. Okay, next. A group of students carry out Benedict test to determine the type of carbohydrate. A result obtained as in table 6.1. Okay, we have brick red precipitate is formed when it's tested by dates. The kuma 叫做红枣 in Mandarin. Whatever 枣啦, okay? And then we have sugar cane. The color of Benedict test remains blue. What does the Benedict test test? They test the presence of reducing sugar. Okay, what are reducing sugar? Okay, let me write over here first lah. We have Benedict test. They will test the presence of reducing sugar. Okay, the example of reducing sugar are all mono and di besides sucrose. All mono and di besides sucrose. So we have what? We have glucose, fructose, galactose, lactose, maltose. Okay, if you don't know the example of mono, di, and polysaccharides, you really have to go through it again, because if you don't know that, it means that you cannot do chapter 9 anymore. Okay, I have a video explaining how to remember the glucose, fructose, galactose, lactose, maltose, sucrose. Are those you can watch again, not very long. What is the glycemic index? Then the question says what? The glycemic index is to increase the blood. Is to increase the sugar in your blood. The question got say one. Okay, now they say that dates, they are able to change into brick red precipitate. Means what? They will be reducing sugar because it's to test the presence of reducing sugar, right? So this is actually the one that contains of glucose. Okay, it's the one that contains of glucose. How does brick red precipitate form? Because magnetic test itself is a copper 2 sulfate. Copper 2 sulfate is blue in color. You learn in chemistry, right? Copper 2 ions is blue color. So this brick red precipitate form is because that your copper 2 ion, copper 2 ion, they reduce into copper 1 ion. Copper 2 is blue in color. Copper 1 is red. That's why they show into brick red precipitate. That's why they say this is a reducing sugar. They are able to reduce copper 2 to copper 1. It's called reducing copper 2 to copper 1. Next, we have sugar cane. Sugar cane is under sucrose. This is under sucrose. Is sucrose under reducing sugar? No, right? I mean, there's what, Ling Tao? Why do you join the game, Ling Tao? Save your money to yourself, dear. Don't give me this. Please don't have to, okay? Ling Tao, please don't. Okay, so sucrose is reducing. It's not a reducing sugar. So reducing sugar is you cannot change the color, right? So they will remain as blue color. As we have mentioned, Benedict solution is copper 2 ions. Okay, copper 2 ions, guys. Don't need to send me money, okay? This is just a free class, okay? Please don't do this. Okay, explain why different observation of Benedict test is as shown in 6.1. Okay, right now what you can observe from here is we know that dates is glucose reducing sugar. They are able to change copper 2 to copper 1. And then sugar cane, sucrose is not a reducing sugar. They remain as blue color. Guys, observation. Observation, you can see from the question, you write your answer. Remember, again, don't leave your answer blank. We say for many times, right? If you leave your answer blank, you have no... Guys, stop sending me money, guys, please, okay? This is a free class, even though people will send to me, it's my friends lah, okay? And also my ex-student lah. But guys, please stop it, okay? Okay, next we have to say, dates contains... I feel like what, I feel like those, in this internet, we have this 网络主播, means like you speak and you earn money from that, okay? I'm not that, guys, okay? Where people sing song, they earn money. Where people speak, they earn money. Guys, okay? I don't want to be 网络主播, okay? This contains reducing sugar while Sucrose contains non-reducing sugar. Guys, stop, okay? So you can see dates reduce copper 2 ions into copper 1 ions. And then you can see 2 marks. Actually, this is enough already, okay? This reduce copper 2 ions into copper 1 ion. Okay, if you want to say it changes the solution from blue to brick red precipitate, also can. But it's an observation, so this one actually enough already, okay? Can? Okay, now done with this, we're gonna move to the next question. Okay, next question 7.1 shows structure of nephrons in human kidney. Okay, by looking at this, they say we have to name structure P. Okay, actually for formation of urine, it came out last year, but they didn't ask you to label the thing, but they have a question about formation of urine. Right now, we have to label everything from here, okay? Just to revise again, we just label everything from here. So P, as you can see, is the C shape. This C shape is a bowl shape. Oh, the first sentence, did I write wrongly? Sugar cane. Thank you very much, dear. I got distracted by them sending me money, okay? Sugar cane. 谢谢你, okay? Thank you very much, okay? Sugar cane. You're right, sucrose, okay? Sugar cane is sucrose, okay? So, P is the C shape. You call this as Bowman's capsule. It's called Bowman's capsule. Okay, Bowman's capsule. Next, we will label after Bowman's capsule. This area here is called proximal convoluted tubule, PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. This one is loop of Henle. The other side, we have distal convoluted tubule. This is collecting duct. Okay, we're gonna start all over again, yeah. In Bowman's capsule and glomerulus, guys, don't. Okay, Bowman's capsule and glomerulus, we have ultrafiltration. Okay, what does ultrafiltration means? Ultrafiltration, it means that they will filter the small particle, they're able to diffuse into it. The large one cannot diffuse into it. In ultrafiltration, we have a pressure. The pressure is known as high hydrostatic pressure. Where does this pressure come from? The pressure are from the larger arteriole to a smaller arteriole, which is efferent arteriole to efferent arteriole, okay? Bigger to smaller. Now, this bigger to smaller arteriole, it causes a pressure called high hydrostatic pressure. High hydrostatic pressure. Guys, seriously, stop sending me money, guys, okay? High hydrostatic pressure. So, in this high hydrostatic pressure, they will force the fluid to diffuse into the space of the Bowman's capsule. Okay, now what are the things cannot diffuse into it? There are 3 things cannot diffuse into it, okay? In this, there is no red blood cell, no platelets, no plasma protein. No red blood cell, no platelets, no plasma protein. Okay, there is no red blood cell, no platelets, no plasma protein. Because what? Because they are too large. Okay, because they are too large to diffuse across it. Remember, in biology, we have no big, we only have large. Large, yeah, not big, yeah, guys, large. You thought like, no, guys, it's a free class, okay? I don't know why they are doing this, okay? Please don't do this. Just attend the class. If you get A+, I'll be very happy. That would be the best gift for me if you score your exam. Okay, just learn well. Just learn well. Just score A+. If you get A+, if you get A, if you get A-, if you improve, that will be the best gift to me. Okay? If you improve in your exam. Any exam, maybe from fail to pass, from pass to A-, from A- to A+, that would be the best gift. Okay, next we have PCT. PCT is reabsorption. Okay, now what do they reabsorb? They will reabsorb 5 things. Number 1, they will reabsorb fully 100% of amino acid and glucose. Okay, and partially NaCl water. Okay, NaCl water. NaCl water. So if the person did not fully reabsorb amino acid and glucose, the person will have disease. If the person urine contains of amino acid, the person will have kidney failure. If the person urine has glucose, it means that the person will have diabetic mellitus. So remember, one is kidney failure. The other one is diabetes mellitus. When you write 铿锵 manis 糖尿病 you have to write diabetes mellitus. You cannot just write diabetes because we have different diabetes. We have also diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus is where the person produce a lot of urine because they have lack of ADH lah. So that's diabetes insipidus. This is diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus. Okay. Now after that we have loop of Henle. Okay, loop of Henle, they also have reabsorption. What do they reabsorb right now? NaCl water, because they only left NaCl water. Okay, NaCl water. Lang J, later I'll go to your class. I will send you money again. Okay, DCT. We have also reabsorption and secretion. Reabsorption, same thing. We have NaCl water. Secretion are the things that we don't want. Okay, reabsorb are the things that we want. Secretion are the things that we don't want. Okay, what are the things that we don't want? It means what is in your urine. The one in your urine are the things that we don't want. Okay, we don't want what? We don't want ammonia. Okay, we don't want urea. We don't want ammonia. We don't want urea. Okay, now for collecting duct, actually they also have reabsorption, but I don't know why your textbook don't write. Your question, they also have reabsorption, but in collecting duct, generally they have formation of urine. Okay, they have formation of urine. So this is what happens in the kidney lah, but rough idea is this one. I'll just explain. No, I just want to return the money to him. Okay, P is okay, P is Bowman's capsule. No, it's okay. Mr. Mo, Junhan, I'll buy you food next time. Okay, so state the process that occurs between glomerulus and P. So we have mentioned that this is ultrafiltration. Okay, this is ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration. Okay, state two differences of the content in glomerulus compared to the content in P. Okay, glomerulus and P. Okay, on your exam, please don't write in table form. You have to write in sentence for structure question. No table form, yeah, in sentence. Okay, so glomerulus is the blood vessel. Bowman's capsule is this thing, means it's in the nephrons. So what is in the glomerulus but not in the Bowman's capsule? Again, we say what? No red blood cell, no platelets, no plasma protein, because they are too large. That is the thing that cannot diffuse across the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so for this answer, you can just write glomerulus has red blood cell. This one has platelets. This one has plasma protein. Okay, this one don't have lah. Okay, if you want to write differences in your structure question, remember to form it into one sentence. It means that your answer needs to write glomerulus contains of red blood cell, whereas P does not contain of red blood cell, in one sentence. If you separate them in different sentences, you have no marks because you didn't write the differences between P and glomerulus in one sentence. Glomerulus has red blood cell, whereas P has no red blood cell, in one sentence. Yeah, guys, remember, you cannot draw a table, and obviously this is a wrong technique of drawing a table lah. I just want to be fast. Okay, next, an individual suffer damage in kidney that causes hematuria. Is a condition which blood can be found in urine. Explain how this condition occurs. Okay, why the person has blood in urine? It's because that this situation, your blood diffuses into the Bowman's capsule. Okay, diffuses. I need to close this. How am I supposed to do this? I need to stop allowing people to send me money. How am I supposed to do this, guys? Okay, never mind. I'll do it later after the thing. Okay, so Remember, what happened is the red blood cell diffuses into the Bowman's capsule. When it diffuses into Bowman's capsule, your urine will have blood. That's all. Tau, enough already, tau. Okay, so you can see, oh, these are really distract me from teaching, guys. I need to ignore this. Kidney, what? Kidney infection. Or you can say glomerulus damage, causes the red blood cell to be filtered out into Bowman's capsule. This causes glomerular filtrate content of blood. Okay, so what is a glomerular filtrate? A glomerular filtrate is the fluid that diffuses into the Bowman's capsule. It's called glomerular filtrate. The fluid from the glomerulus being filtered. That's why it's called glomerular filtrate. It's a fluid, it's called glomerular filtrate. Okay, diagram 12 shows two different jackets. This one is jacket P and jacket Q, or obviously from this diagram you can see. They say that a scientist plans to make an expedition to Antarctic to carry out a biological research. Choose the most suitable jacket to be worn during the expedition. Justify your answer. From this diagram, guys, obviously you can see that this one is thicker, this one is thinner. Thick and thin, right? If you go to a winter country, which one you guys wear? By common sense, of course, you wear P, right? Okay, if you go to a winter country, of course, you're going to wear P. You're not going to wear Q because Q is too thin. You wear in Malaysia, Genting Highland, you can wear this. But if you go to a country that is cold, of course, you're going to wear jacket P. So your answer is jacket P. Because jacket P is thick, they can trap air. The air trap, they can keep your body warm. So that's why it's thick, okay? So you can say jacket P, a thick layer of air is trapped in clothes. Air acts as heat insulator. More heat will be trapped that prevent loss of heat from skin to environment. From skin to environment. Okay, now done with this. So remember, sometimes when you choose answer, you choose with your common sense. A lot of time, even if you don't have biology knowledge, you can also choose with your common sense. I teach you a lot of things today, right? Don't leave it blind. Just write negative answer when the question is negative statement. Okay, next diagram, question 8. This is Form 4 chapter 8, Form 4 chapter 14, sorry, this is Form 4 chapter 14. Diagram 8.1 shows a fish, okay, so that the tail whip to the left. So when the tail moves to the left, the fish will move to the left. When the tail moves to the right, the fish will move to the right. Okay, this is how it works. This is Form 4 chapter 14, yeah. Name the muscle involved in the movement of fish. Fish has only one muscle, one named muscle is called myotome. But for human, we have a lot of muscle. For frog, they have many muscle. Grasshopper also got many muscle, right? So for fish, it's called myotome. What is the muscle? The muscle equals to the meat that you eat. It's called myotome. Myotome, okay, it's called myotome. Muscle named in 8.1 are injured. Explain the effect on injury of whipping fish tail compared to before injury. So when the muscle is injured, no matter whether what organism, muscle has only two actions. What are the two actions? You can only contract or relax, okay? Contract or relax. There's only two actions. Human also two, contract and relax. Fish also two, frog also two, grasshopper also two, bird also two. Only contract and relax. Right now, the muscle got injured. It means what? Again, guys, negative statement, negative answer. The muscle unable to move or contract and relax. Now that you know, the answering way, okay? 那个精髓 to answer the question, okay? The way to answer this kind of question is the same. So today you learn for many questions, right? Anything you write the same answer. But first you have to know the function first. Before you write cannot, okay? You have to know the function first. Okay, so you can say myotome unable to contract and relax. Fish unable to swim forward. If you want to explain more, you can say unable to swim forward due to unable to produce forward thrust. Forward thrust means they swim forward. It's called forward thrust lah. Okay? Now done, we're gonna move to the next one. Okay, next one is human. Okay, we actually, like in my class, I do a lot of human question actually. 8.2 shows the structure of an athlete's arm while playing badminton. We have to name the structure. Okay, now we have to name L and K together. We will also name other thing lah. So K obviously is a muscle where people like to show their K. So this K is called bicep muscle. I mean, all the boys for some reason, I don't know why they like to show their bicep muscle. So when you have bicep, means you have tricep muscle. Why is it called bicep and tricep? Because bicep means 2, we have 2 muscle over here. Tricep means 3, we have 3 muscle at the back. L is the connection between a muscle and bone. Muscle to bone, we call this as tendon. Tendon, remember, tendon, muscle, bone, T and B, okay, tendon. They will connect muscle to bone. Okay, just remember T and B, tendon, muscle, bone. Okay, we will also label the bones as well, guys, just in case you guys don't remember the bone. Okay, in this diagram, this one over here, we can see there's a U shape. The U shape one is called ulna. This is called radius. This is called humerus. Okay, radius, ulna, humerus. Bicep is love. All the boys, they are obsessed with their own bicep. I don't know why. No, some boys, when they have no big muscle or when they have too big muscle, like it's a bit scary when the muscle is too big. Imagine one day your friend one punch to your face, then you're gonna die. So yeah, it's a bit scary lah, guys. Okay, so we have the answer for L. L is a tendon. The athlete experienced micro tear on muscle K due to daily intense training. A micro tear is a mild tear, by the way. Once this happened, the blood flow, this is flow, yeah, blood flow will be concentrated to the area for recovery process of muscle K. Explain how the blood flow can help recovery of muscle K. Because when you have blood flow means what? You have oxygen. Because blood equals to red blood cell. Red blood cell, they have oxygen. So oxygen means that they are able to carry out cellular respiration, where you will produce energy. When you have energy, it means that you have mitosis. Okay, this one link a bit too far lah, but you have to remember they link this way. So maybe I'll write down. Okay, blood flow means that you have cellular respiration. Cellular respiration means you have energy. When you have energy, means that you can carry out mitosis. Mitosis means it's for cell to regrow, right? So cell can grow, repair damaged cell. Because to grow cell, they need to carry out mitosis. So we need to have this thinking where they comes in a flow. Liang bicep is bigger than my quadricep. That's a bit scary. Maybe because you are too skinny there. There is a ball and socket joint. Okay, there's a ball and socket joint over here. This is a ball and socket joint. This is a hinge joint. Okay, ball and socket joint is at the shoulder. This is a hinge joint. Okay, now back to this in sentence. We're going to form into one sentence over here by saying that blood carry oxygen for cellular respiration. This produces more energy, enable muscle to repair, or you can say produce by mitosis. Okay, next. 8.3 shows the Pengan Sihat Malaysia suggested by the Ministry of Health Malaysia. Okay, this one is a very common diagram that you will see in exam. We call this as quarter half. Okay, what is a quarter half? Quarter half means what? Quarter carbohydrate, quarter protein, half fruits and vegetable. It's called quarter half. Okay, it's a thing that we follow in Malaysia lah. It's not in biology. Even in Malaysia, the government also suggests us to eat quarter half because Malaysia, we have a lot of obese problem. As a nutritionist, modify the nutrition guide on 8.3 to suit the need of an athlete that undergoes intensive training. Intensive training, explain your answer. Over here, how do we explain when the person carry out intensive training? What do they need? Number one, they need more protein. Why? Because protein can build more new cells. Number two, they can eat more carbohydrate because carbohydrate gives them more energy. So either you want to write on carbohydrate or either you want to write on protein, whichever you prefer. But we don't really explain on fruits and vegetable lah because if you want to, you can talk about the minerals because fruit and vegetable, they have minerals that's needed for muscle to prevent muscle cramp or vitamin D, there's a lot of minerals. But if you want to choose the easy answer, you choose carbohydrate because they have energy. Protein, they're able to repair or to produce new cells. Choose the easy one. Don't make your life hard, guys. Biology is really very hard. You still want to make your life hard. I also don't know lah. This one you can say increase intake of carbohydrate to provide more energy. Okay, if you want to write protein also can. You can say increase intake of protein to repair damaged cell or to produce new cell. Okay, now done with this, we're going to move to the next question. Question 9, or finally essay question. 1.5 hours to 8 question. A bit too slow, guys. Okay, the first electrical vehicles was introduced in Malaysia on 2013. It releases less greenhouse gases and pollutants compared to normal car, and this will help to increase the quality of air in town areas. Okay, question 9 is actually from Form 5 Chapter 10. Form 5 Chapter 10 is a question that you need to know. Okay, Die also need to know this chapter because it can be any question, any possible question, any subtopic, any question you can also ask this. 9.1 shows the online news article about the rising interest in public of owning an electrical vehicles. So they say that electrical vehicles are trending, with many on social media posting photos and talking about their happiness and pride at owning one. Okay, electrical car lah. Based on the article above, define green technology. Okay, actually this year we also have a lot of questions based on green technology because last year they didn't ask green technology. So let me give you the proper definition of green technology first, and then we have to improvise the sentence based on this article because they say based on the article, right? Okay, now what is green technology in your textbook? Yeah, green technology, let me write with purple color first. Green technology is the development and application of products, equipment, and system to preserve the environment and nature while minimizing and reducing negative impact of human activities. Okay, this is based on your textbook. But if you want to base on this article, okay, based on this article, what the question says, I mean, what is this article saying? They are saying about electrical cars, right? Electrical vehicles, right? EV, right? So right now, the products, it will be the EV, electrical vehicles. What is the negative impact? Is air pollution. Air pollution, right? So we have to slightly modify this sentence so we can base on this article. So your sentence, it will be this way. Let me write over here. Okay, this is based on the article, yeah. So your sentence will be introduction or introduce also can, of electrical vehicle release less greenhouse gases. This reduces air pollution in town. This reduces air pollution in town. So actually when the question say based on the article, we have to slightly modify the sentence. If you cannot form this, the one in red color, if you know the one in purple color, actually also correct. You just change this word, just change the one I bracket or underline, and then to the question, then your answer is correct actually. So your answer can also be development and application of electrical vehicles to preserve the environment and nature while minimizing air pollution also can. Actually, don't have to follow the one in red color. If you know the purple color, you just edit the question a little bit, then you have your answer with you. Okay, now next question. This question also never came out last year. This is a new thing. Maybe you will see this year. 9.2 shows the step of producing an eco-enzyme detergent from food waste. So they say that they use 300 gram of orange zest, and then they have 100 gram of brown sugar, 1 liter of warm water, 2 gram of yeast, putting into a 2 liter of plastic bottle. Then you shake a bit. You have the bottle cap, and then you have to open your cap. As you can see, in these 2 weeks time, you have to open your cap because you want to release the gas, right? You don't want your bottle to explode, right? It's a plastic bottle, guys. Confirm gonna explode if you never open the cap. Means every 1 day you have to release the gas. So you have to put it in optimum temperature, which is 35 degrees Celsius. Usually is the back of the refrigerator also can. 35 is the optimum. And then after 2 weeks, you filter the solid thing, and then you only use the liquid, and then you can use it to wash whatever your floor, maybe your toilet lah. You can also use this, but nobody use this to wash your plate lah. I mean, if you want, you can actually, because it's eco-friendly. Now the question I want you, based on 9.2, describe how to produce your own eco-enzyme detergent. If you never see this in your revision before, can you still write the answer? Of course you can. Why? Because they give you all of the information that you need. You just have to form into sentence. You know, in primary school, you look at the diagram, you form sentence. Right now, you're gonna do the same. 就是看图写作文啊 you look at the diagram, you form sentence, definitely you can do it. If you cannot get 5 marks, at least you can also get 4 marks, guys. Is it very hard? Not very hard. Again, biology is not so hard that you think it is. As long as you understand the way of writing the answer, understand the logic behind it, everything is not very hard. Okay, but you have to spend time doing question, only you will know lah. You only know the pattern of it. Like today we try one question, I tell you there's a lot of things that you use the same way of answering, right? So this one, 来我们看图写作文 look at the diagram, you form into sentence, yeah? Okay, they say what? Put 300 gram of orange zest and 100 gram of brown sugar, 2 gram of yeast, and how many liter of water? 1 liter of water, of warm water, into, the bottle is 2 liter just now, 2 liter into 2 liter plastic bottle. And then you can say brown sugar provide same as max, not same as relationship. That one is your relationship problem, okay? So brown sugar provide what? A fermentation, provide a glucose for fermentation. Okay, and you say, and yeast produces carbon dioxide. So over here we just write carbon dioxide. If you want to write ethanol also can, because fermentation it will produce ethanol. So you want to say yeast produces carbon dioxide, or you want to write ethanol also can. If you want to write energy also can, but energy is not really needed in this lah. But if you want to write energy also can. And then you can say close the cap of the bottle tightly and shake vigorously until brown sugar is dissolved, and then open bottle cap to release the pressure. Let out gas produced 3 times a day for 2 weeks. Put the bottle in a place where the temperature is 35 degrees Celsius. After 2 weeks, filter solution and keep solutions in airtight container. Keep filter solution, right? Filter over here. Filter solution in airtight containers. 林涛 your 颜值 what your 学霸级别 don't fake John, just an average TTC student. I don't believe 林涛 is not average TTC student. 林涛 is a 学霸okay. Okay, done. We're gonna move to the next one. Okay, again, if you think I'm too fast, you can wind back and watch it and write it again. Okay, guys, don't worry. Next question. State the advantages of using ecoenzyme as a cleaning agent. Of course, it's advantage. Okay, what is the advantage? When you think of advantage, number one, you save money. Save money, right? Ecoenzyme, you make it by yourself, right? You use your waste product to make it by yourself. Of course, you save money. Number two, it's eco-friendly. You have lesser waste disposal, and then you can make sure that there's no pollution. So this is the advantages. Number one, the easiest one, you can say save money lah. Save on cleaning costs and environmental friendly. And then you can say reduce waste disposal to landfills. Prevent clog in drainage. Okay, so write 3 marks is enough. If you want to write other also can if you want to. Okay, next we're gonna look at question C. Haven't question 11 yet. Question C. Okay, 9.3a and 9.3b shows 2 human activities that threaten ecosystem. Discuss the effect of activities 9.3a and 9.3b towards ecosystem. So based on this 9.3a, you can see that this is actually deforestation. Just in case you don't know, but you can see quite obviously this is deforestation. Deforestation. And then you can look at the B is actually greenhouse effect, or you can say global warming lah. So this is greenhouse effect, or you can say global warming. But usually if you want to write global warming, I will suggest you to write greenhouse effect first, because greenhouse effect leads to global warming. Okay, now we have to discuss the effects to the ecosystem, guys. They say to the ecosystem, nothing to do with human. Don't have to say, oh, human no job lah, nothing to do with human, but to the environment, yeah. 6 marks. So we're going to start with means 3 lah. So 3 marks for 9.3a, 3 marks for 9.3b. So it's not very hard to write 9.3a answer. When it comes to deforestation, means there is no natural habitat. There will be extinction of flora and fauna. You can also say that there's no, they will have increase of carbon dioxide, which is greenhouse gases. Where 9.3 is the greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect is what? When there's too much of greenhouse gases that trap heat in the earth, they will increase the temperature of the earth. It will cause the pole, north and south pole ice, when they start to melt, they will have flood in lower lying area. Because they will increase in seawater level, right? Then they will have flood in lower lying area. So don't have to write so many things, just write 3, then your answer is actually enough already. So for this one, you can say diagram you can say this is 9.3a shows deforestation. And then you can say this disrupt food chain that leads to extinction of flora and fauna, loss of rainwater catchment area. What is a rainwater catchment area? They will absorb water by using the roots of the plants in the forest. So it's called water catchment area. And then next, you can see they have soil erosion. What is a soil erosion? Means that no roots, they cannot anchor onto the ground. When the rain comes, they will have landslide. So it's called soil erosion. Soil erosion is not the soil is not good. It's only referring to when there's no tree roots to anchor onto the soil. It's called soil erosion. So soil erosion happens, which leads to landslide and flash flood. Okay, so this is enough for 9.3a, and then we have 9.3b. Diagram 9.3b shows greenhouse effect. If you want to write global warming, you can explain to the next sentence. So you can say excessive heat trap on Earth that causes global warming. The Earth temperature increases, causes melting of ice at poles, which increases seawater level, and that leads to flood in low-lying area. So this is 9.3b. Okay, so done with this, we're going to move to the next one, next page, guys. So next page, 9.4a shows the condition of a leak nearby factory P, which does not have any effluent treatment system. Okay, now what is the effluent treatment system? So this is what? Why there's a box? Nearby fertilizer, guys. This is fertilizer. Don't know why. Fertilizer. Factory P. And this is fertilizer. Factory Q. I don't know why I say box, but it's fertilizer lah. And effluent. Okay, now what is the effluent system? Effluent refers to liquid waste. Liquid waste. Wastewater lah, it's called liquid waste. It's effluent. So they use this treatment system to remove the liquid waste, so to prevent eutrophication over here. So they say if the fertilizer factory P and fertilizer factory Q. So fertilizer factory P, it forms into a layer of algae in this lake. But fertilizer factory P, there is a treatment system. There will be no lake of algae bloom in the lake. So they ask you to differentiate the effect of fertilizer P and Q towards ecosystem and aquatic organism in both lakes. The question is only 4 marks. Don't have to write very long, but you based on what you understand from here, you just write the layer of algae will form when the fertilizer contains of nitrate and phosphate, because what causes formation of algae is where the fertilizer has nitrate and phosphate. They will promote the growth of algae. So the algae will cover the surface of lake. Sunlight cannot go into it. When sunlight cannot go into it, the aquatic plant will die first. Why the plants will die first? Because no sunlight, no photosynthesis. When the plant die, they will start to decompose. Who is the decomposer? The decomposer in this case is called aerobic bacteria. Aerobic means what? They have to use oxygen in the water to decompose. It's called aerobic bacteria. Once it's being used up, there will be no oxygen left much in the water. The aquatic organism, which is the fish, will die. The fish will die because there is no oxygen. We have a thing called BOD, biochemical oxygen demand. The demand for oxygen increases, the supply is lesser. Eventually, everything will die, and then they will form into this green thing, and it smells not very good actually. So 4 marks. You can write differences, yeah. So this is P, this is Q. I'll write P only because Q is just opposite answer lah. So P, you can say eutrophication occurs due to high content of nitrate and phosphate. And then algae bloom occurs that prevent penetration of light into water. This decreases rate of photosynthesis that leads to death of aquatic plant. And then you can write the level of dissolved oxygen decreases. BOD level increases. Water is polluted. So if you want to write Q, you only have to change this. Okay, let me underline the word that you have to change so you can write by yourself, yeah. So does not occurs, low content, does not occurs, allowed sunlight, increased rate of photosynthesis, no death of aquatic plant, increases of oxygen in water, BOD level increases, water is not polluted. Okay, I think this one you can write by yourself because it's just opposite meaning, right? Okay, I think you can write by yourself. Okay, now done with this, we will move to the next question. Okay, the next question, it will be question 10. This one is a vascular tissue. This is Form 5 chapter 4. Okay, it's a chapter that you have to focus as well in your exam because this year a lot of state paper, they have this vascular tissue, xylem phloem, and then transpiration and also translocation you have to know as well. So this one shows a vascular tissue. From this diagram, they said if you don't know what it is, it's okay, read the question. They say what? Explain one structural adaptation to transport water in plant. Water, guys, to transport water, obviously this one is what? Xylem. Xylem, okay, to transport water, it has to be xylem. Structural adaptation means what? Things that we can see. It's called structural, okay? Structural are the things that we can see. Now, from this diagram, what you can see there is a hole at the side. The small hole at the side, we call this as pith, P-I-T-H. Can you write BOD or you need to write full one? Actually, you need to write the full one before you write BOD. If your question keep on, you have to repeat the BOD, you have to write biochemical oxygen demand. Only you can write BOD actually. For the rest of the question, you have to write one time and then you bracket BOD and then the rest you can write BOD. Okay, so back to this again. The small hole at the side is called pith, P-I-T-H. P-I-T-H, pith is to allow sideway movement of water. And the xylem is taken by the lignin. Okay, this xylem here is taken by the lignin. The function of lignin is to prevent the plants from prevent the xylem from collapsing. It's a type of mechanical support. So either you want to write taken by lignin or you can write pith because both are structural adaptation, things that we can see. Or you can say that they have hollow tube, long hollow tube to transport water continuously also can. So we have a lot of answer to this depending on which one that you want to write lah. So you can say has pith allow sideway movement of water. Sideway movement of water to adjacent cell. Adjacent means neighboring cell. Okay, it's called adjacent cell. Or you can say taken by lignin. Or you can say lignified wall. And then your explanation, you can say provide mechanical strength and prevent it from collapsing. Okay, also can. Okay, if you want to write long elongated hollow tube to allow continuous flow of water, also can, whichever you prefer lah. Just one, because this is 1 mark, this is 1 mark, so it's 2 marks. Of course, remember to write in sentence, yeah. Means you cannot write has pith. You can say that xylem has pith. Xylem is taken by the lignin. You cannot write this one, you have to write in sentence, yeah. Short sentence. Short and nice sentence, don't need to write therefore it is. No, those sentences don't have to. Okay, next, let's look at B. 10.2 shows a plant exposed to radioactive carbon dioxide. Radioactive carbon dioxide. And they say that the transparent plastic bag that contains radioactive carbon dioxide. So, we have bulk remove. Okay, now when it comes to bulk remove, what do they remove? They will remove the phloem. So, phloem is removed. In this case, phloem is removed. And then K is above the ring. L is below the ring. Because when it's being removed, means that they will not transport the sucrose from the leaves to the roots. It will only stop at this part. Okay, now to think of radioactive carbon dioxide, what does it relate to this part? We have to think about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis equation is started with this. They need to use carbon dioxide, water with the presence of light and chlorophyll. Yeah, chlorophyll. They will produce into oxygen and glucose. Oxygen, glucose is C6H12O6. This is the equation for photosynthesis. Now, where does the carbon dioxide come from right now? Leaf is the one that carry out photosynthesis, right? But as you can see, the top part of the leaf, they have what? They have radioactive carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide is a radioactive carbon dioxide. Whatever they produce right now is actually radioactive sucrose. Because it's radioactive carbon dioxide, right? So it will be radioactive sucrose or radioactive glucose that contains the sucrose. They ask, after 36 hours, the plant is tested to determine the presence of radioactive substances. Radioactive sucrose is detected in chili K. Explain how radioactive sucrose is present in chili. Again, because the one that you use here is radioactive carbon dioxide. And then they will diffuse into they will use to produce glucose. Glucose is then stored in the chloroplast and then they will condense into starch. And then the sucrose will diffuse into the stem. Okay, because we have this thing is hypotonic. The water will diffuse, the sucrose will diffuse into the phloem due to active transport, and then the water will diffuse into it. The process here involves of translocation. I don't know if you guys remember what is translocation, okay? Translocation is involved in phloem. So they ask you, why only K has it, L don't have it? Because of phloem. Phloem is the one that transports sucrose from the leaf to all parts of the plant. Okay, now we have to explain in detail so you can understand better, yeah? So we're going to write a remark over here. The radioactive sucrose is because we have translocation. Translocation is to transport sucrose. It calls translocation. This one have to use phloem. It's organic substances, so we have to use phloem. So in sentence wise, we have to say that radioactive glucose is produced in leaves through photosynthesis. Okay, it's the one that we say just now to produce through photosynthesis they use the radioactive carbon dioxide, right? So you produce a radioactive glucose. Next, the radioactive glucose condense to form starch and store in leaves. So after that, from leaf, they will go to the stem. So you can say radioactive sucrose is actively transported into sieve tube. Okay, phloem has sieve tube, they have sieve plate, they have companion cell. Companion cell is the one with mitochondria because you need to be actively transported, right? Active means what? Active, it means they need energy. The energy comes from the companion cell, which is the mitochondria. So that's why we have sieve tube, we have companion cell at the side. So sieve tube is quite empty inside, it's called sieve tube. And then we have, sieve tube has cytoplasm. Yeah? And then you can see sieve tube through companion cell, water potential in sieve tube decreases, causes water to diffuse from xylem into sieve tube by osmosis. Okay, now why is water involved in translocation? Okay, read the second sentence again. They say that the sucrose transport into sieve tube. So sieve tube right now has more glucose. More glucose means what? Lesser water. It forms into a hypertonic situation over here. So because they are hypertonic, the water from the xylem, because xylem and phloem is always together, right? So phloem is hypertonic. This one got more water, right? So the water will diffuse into the phloem by osmosis. More water to lesser water, because this one got lesser water, more sucrose, right? So they will diffuse into the phloem right now. So that's why they say water potential in sieve tube means in the phloem decreases. Lesser water, but there's more sucrose. That's why the water from the xylem, it diffuses into the sieve tube by osmosis, because they always want to achieve a dynamic equilibrium. Okay, and then we can say that this increases hydrostatic pressure in sieve tube that causes phloem sap to be pushed along the sieve tube to other organs of plant. Phloem sap here refers to the sucrose, the phloem sap, because in the textbook they write phloem sap, so we just follow phloem sap lor. If you want to write sucrose also can, because it's the same thing. And then you can say phloem sap is transported from sieve tube to chili K, because chili K is the one with radioactive sucrose just now. So this is the answer of the question. So this is to relate back to your translocation process. Okay, now usually after translocation, for essay question they will ask you about transpiration. Usually they will ask about transpiration. Where the next question, okay, I haven't transpiration yet. After that is transpiration. Radioactive sucrose is not detected in chili L. Explain why. Because they are below the ring. When you remove it, you remove this part, right? Chili L is below the ring. So the radioactive sucrose, it will not go down to it. The leaf here is not radioactive carbon dioxide. So that's why they will produce a normal sucrose. No radioactive sucrose over here, because all of the radioactive is being accumulated above the ring. So your answer, you can write phloem is removed, and then radioactive sucrose cannot be transported to lower part of ring. Lower part of ring refers to the chili L, lower part of ring. Okay, now done with this, we're going to move to the next one. The next one is transpiration. Transpiration actually not very common to be asked in SPM, but actually it's very common to be asked in your school exam paper. But this question never came up for a very long time now, so you can also study transpiration. 10.3 shows the transportation of water in plant. Describe the process of water movement starting from X, Y, Z. Okay, now transpiration has 3 processes. From the root to the stem to the leaf, we have 3 different processes. So X, from the root, it is known as a root pressure. This one over here is called root pressure. Y, at the stem, it is known as capillary action. At Z, it is known as transpirational pull. Transpirational pull. Okay, now root pressure has a lot of things that we're going to go through later, but capillary action is very significant. Why? Because capillary action has 2 different action over here. Force, okay, we call it force lah. We have cohesive and adhesive. Capillary action, cohesive force and adhesive force. Cohesive refers to a bond between water and water. Adhesive is water and xylem wall. Because without this cohesive and adhesive, your water is not possible for you to move against the gravity. From the roots to the leaf is against gravity, right? How do they move against gravity? Because they have cohesive and adhesive. They will stick together between the water molecule. They stick to the xylem wall. So that's why they can move against the gravity. Transpirational pull is from the leaf through the stomata. They will release the water vapor lah. Okay. Now back to this again. We will start from the root. I'll write the keyword at the side. Later we're going to form sentence later on. So from X over here, we will start from the soil. To absorb water, water always comes from soil. Okay. So over here, we will start from soil. Soil water. Okay. Soil water, is being absorbed to the root cell. Okay, from the root cell, it will go to the cortex cell. Or cortex is one of the area where they will store food. It's a cortex cell. From the cortex cell, it goes to endodermis. Endodermis has a very special thing called Casparian strip. Okay, let me write over here. Endodermis, they have Casparian strip. Okay, the function of Casparian strip is to act as a waterproof. Okay, they will block the water. It's called Casparian strip. And then from the endodermis, it will go to the xylem vessel. The xylem vessel is at the root. From the root xylem vessel, it will go to the xylem vessel of the stem. From the stem xylem vessel, it will go to the xylem vessel of the leaves. From the xylem vessel of the leaf, it will go to mesophyll cell, or spongy mesophyll cell, because they have a lot of loose, they are arranged loosely. So once they arrange loosely, it means that they are able to diffuse out through the stomata as a water vapor. From the mesophyll cell, it will go to the air space, which is the arranged loosely area. From the air space, it will go to the stomata. So you can say water lost through stomata. And then it goes to the atmosphere. It goes to the atmosphere. So by writing this sequence over here, the question is 7 marks. But the sequence over here, you can actually form up to 10 marks. How do we form up to 10 marks? So we have to include the process as well. From the soil water to the root cell, we have to use a process called osmosis. Okay, osmosis. From the root cell to the cortex is also osmosis. Cortex to the endodermis is also osmosis. Endodermis to the xylem vessel, we call this as root pressure. We call this as root pressure. Xylem vessel to the stem, root to the stem, is capillary action. Capillary action. To the leaf, we don't have any name because it's from the stem to the leaf. It's by the same action. It's called capillary action. And then from the mesophyll cell, we have transpirational pull over here. Transpirational pull. And then we have water evaporate to the air space, and then they will form into water vapor. And then the last one is called transpiration. So by writing this in sequence, we have 7 marks. Okay, let's form into sentence right now. Okay, it will be a quite long answer for X, Y, Z. But actually in exam, you don't have to, because we left 2 weeks for biology, right? We don't really have the time to go through sentence by sentence. So when you read or when you try to revise, you can write the keywords. Again, this is how I do. This is how we usually do it. You write in keywords and then you just write in sentence. It will be the best way for you to revise that because you only left 2 weeks right now. So in sentence, guys, for X, let's form sentence. X. So you can say root pressure happened in X. Water from soil diffuses into root hair cell via osmosis, which causes root hair cell to have high water potential. And then you can say water diffuse from root hair cell into endodermis. And if you want to write pericycle layer also can. If you don't want, it's okay actually. Pericycle layer via osmosis. And then we can write root pressure push water from xylem vessel of root into xylem vessel of stem. This is for X. And then we have Y. Y is the stem. Stem is called capillary action. Capillary action happens in Y. Adhesive force between water molecule and xylem wall, and cohesive force between water molecule. Now, how do you want to remember whether which one is a cohesive or adhesive? Remember, adhesive is at. At means what? Two different things. Molecule and xylem wall is two different things. So it's called adhesive. Cohesive means it's the same. Okay, if you want to remember lah, but it doesn't mean the same. So cohesive means it's water between water molecule and water molecule actually. Between water molecule. And then you can say water molecule move against gravity. Okay, and then we have the last one, which is Z. Z is transpirational pull. So you can say transpirational pull is produced when water diffuse from neighboring cell via spongy mesophyll cell by osmosis. Next sentence, you can write water diffuses out as water vapor through open stoma. Last sentence, we can write it pulls water molecule in xylem vessel of leaves to outside of leaf. So this is the transpiration. This is the transpiration of plants. Okay, so of course, if you have any question, you can ask me. No question, we're just going to move to the next question, okay? Okay, next. Okay, I mean, of course, if you write very slowly, you can just wind back and watch again, as I say for many times. Okay, next 2. 10.4 shows the transpiration are 10.4 and transpiration are 2 processes that causes permanent water loss from plant leaf to the environment. So differentiate the 2 processes. Okay, right now, the one that you see in 10.4 is called guttation. So guttation, they will release water droplet, not water vapor. Transpiration is water vapor. Water vapor is 100% pure water. Water droplet, they have a lot of minerals inside. And guttation happens during daytime. Transpiration can happen during day and night time. So guttation, usually, okay, because it's only 3 marks, you can write the difference between the water, whether it's water vapor or whether it is water droplet. We can say the content in the water. We can also mention that it happens during day or night time. So this is 10.4. This is transpiration. The 10.4 referring to guttation, by the way, it's called guttation. Okay, so write differences between guttation and transpiration. Number 1, we can see it happens at night, or you can say early morning. And then this one happens on hot and windy days. Okay, next we can talk about the area where it releases water also, can. So you can say water is released through special structure at end of leaf veins. Okay, this special structure, it is known as hydatodes. It's known as hydatodes. The other one, the water release through stomata. And then you can say water release is in the form of water droplet. This one, water release is in the form of water vapor. So water droplet is the one that full with mineral. Water vapor is a pure water. So there's a difference between these 2. Okay, if you want to write more, of course you can write more, but the question is about 3 marks, right? You can just write 3 differences. Remember, for AC question, you can actually write in table form. This is a correct way of writing as long as you write it in the short sentence, short full sentence. Don't write keyword, 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 okay? In AC question, you can write in table form, yeah, guys. Okay, question 11, the last question, guys. Last question. This is Form 5, Chapter 12, under variation. 11.1 shows 2 pictures of same Siamese cat eggs with different fur color on certain part of the body. The fur color is affected, not affected, is affected by 4 seasons. Based on 11.1, explain the effect of temperature on different fur color of Siamese cat eggs. So when it comes to variation has 2 different causes. We have genetic and also environment. So let me write the causes over here so you can remember. So we have causes of variation. So we have continuous variation, we have discontinuous variation. Continuous variation, it will be either genetic or environmental. Okay, discontinuous can only be genetic. Okay, now what is the example of continuous? For example, your height, your weight is continuous variation. It can be affected by your gene, it can be affected by environment. Discontinuous variation is only genetic. For example, your blood group, your fingerprint, you cannot change. It's called discontinuous. So just remember, continuous is continue to be different. It's called continuous. Genetic, we have 3 different examples for the causes of variation. The first, it will be crossing over. Okay, crossing over, it will be one of the variation. That's why everyone will be different because of crossing over. Next, we have independent assortment. Independent assortment is under metaphase 1. How does metaphase 1 arrange? It will cause you to have different genetic arrangement. Last one is random fertilization. Okay, this is the discontinuous genetic factor. Although right now the question says that this is temperature. Temperature is environment, right? How does the environment causes a difference when during summertime it has more white part? I mean, I know the diagram is not very clear lah, but there's more white part, and during winter time there will be more black color part, right? Based on this diagram that you can see, because this is by temperature. They will have enzyme that causes them to show more black color in different weather. So it's because of enzyme lah. This one you can write by saying that temperature is environmental factor. Siamese cat X inherited the gene produce dark pigment for fur color. Enzyme only function when surrounding temperature is lower than body's temperature. Lower than body temperature. I mean, actually we never learned the pigment for cats in biology, but based on this diagram, at least if you don't know lah, you can still write the first and the third sentence without writing the enzyme. Actually, you still have maybe 1 mark lah. Okay, if you don't know what is this, you still write something, guys. Write something that you know. Okay. Next, lower than body temperature. Yeah, the surrounding temperature is lower than body temperature. Okay. Next, we will see B. 11.2 shows the patient body with genetic defect. Okay, this is sickle cell anemia. How do I know this is sickle cell anemia? Because this one here, we have a sickle shape. A sickle shape means what? It means it's a sickle cell anemia. They say, explain how genetic defects affect health condition of patient. Genetic defects affects health condition health condition of patient. People with sickle cell anemia, they will have lesser oxygen, lesser hemoglobin due to the shape, right? The red blood cell, the hemoglobin will be crystallized due to base substitution. This is because of gene mutation. Because of base substitution, the hemoglobin will crystallize. They will transport lesser oxygen. The person will have lesser oxygen for lesser cellular respiration, means lesser energy. The person will feel fatigue easily or faint easily. Actually, no matter whether it's sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, septum defects, the answer will be the same. I mean, like, the health condition will be the same. The symptoms will be the same. So over here, we can say that the patient has sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia. Yes, what we spell wrongly. Anemia. Sickle cell anemia. The red blood cell are sickle shape due to gene mutation. The gene mutation refers to base substitution. Yeah. Okay. If you want to know more about the base substitution, actually this one you don't have to write, but just for information purposes, it's called base substitution. The base substitution is where the adenine is A, is changed to thymine, which is T. And then you can continue to explain if you want to, but if you don't want to write this also can actually. This causes production of abnormal hemoglobin, which crystallize and stick together. Less hemoglobin can be transported to body cell, less energy is produced. And then you can also mention that patient faint easily. So the symptoms over here, it will be the same when the question asks. Okay, let me write the symptoms. Symptoms are similar for anemia, sickle cell anemia, septum defect, or you can go for thalassemia. The symptom will be the same. So the one I bracket, if they ask you any question about this, you can write the same symptom. Less hemoglobin can transport it to the body, lesser oxygen, lesser cellular respiration, and then the patient will faint easily. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, now with this, we're going to move to the next one. The next one, they say 11.3 shows the variation of hand length, is it? And 11.B shows the variation of shape of human hand. Okay, so S is 17 cm, T is 23 cm. And then B, 11.3B, it shows a normal thumb and a hitchhiker thumb. State the differences between the variation 11.3A and 11 on 3B. So the length of the fingers, right, okay, the hand's length is actually depending on your environmental factor as well. Maybe because that you're a person who always play guitar, okay, your left hand and your right hand is different size. If you always play piano, maybe you can extend your finger longer. So this is actually by your environmental. I mean, of course, genetic is one of the factors, but it can also be environmental that causes your finger to be longer. But normal thumb and hitchhiker thumb is different. If you can do this, okay, my thumb is actually a hitchhiker thumb. You can if you notice, okay, there's a shape over here. This is what we call as hitchhiker. If you cannot bend, it means that you're normal thumb. This is a gene. It's not because that you are we have talent. No, it's because of gene. This is hitchhiker that you can bend into a shape over here. Is called hitchhiker. This is because of gene. So one is continuous variation, one is discontinuous variation. So when you write your answer, it's 3 marks, right? So 11.3 A, 11.3B. So what you have to write is, you write whether they are continuous or discontinuous. The characteristic is distinctive or not. Distinctive means obvious. Non-distinctive means not obvious. Whereas the normal thumb and hitchhiker thumb is very obvious, whether you can or you cannot. The length, right, 11.3A, the length of the finger is distinctive. It means that you don't have a correct figure to show that this is a long or short finger. We don't know. We always have to compare only. We have to know, right? How do we define that 17 cm is short? Maybe people finger are 5 cm now. Fetus, baby, they are 5 cm. It's not short, right? So this one is called non-distinctive. We have no answer to this. But you can and you cannot is distinctive. So for 11.3A, we show as a continuous. This is a continuous variation. This is a discontinuous variation. And then this one, it shows intermediate. What is intermediate characteristic? Intermediate, it means that intermediate characteristic, it means that there is a range. Okay, for example, height. Height is intermediate. There are also continuous variation. It means that maybe between 100 cm to 150 cm is short. 151 to 200 is tall. So we have a range to show whether they are short or tall. Maybe 30 kg is too skinny. 31 to 50 kg is normal, for example. So we have a range to show this. But discontinuous, there's no intermediate characteristic. So this one you write no intermediate characteristic. And then you can see that the characteristic is not distinctive. Not distinctive means not obvious. This one is distinctive, you can write by yourself. Okay, if you want to write another one by saying that the graph. So for continuous variation, it will show a bell graph. So you can say a bell graph is a normal distribution. The graph show with normal distribution. This one shows a discrete distribution. Discrete distribution. Okay, so this is the differences. If you don't want to write this, of course you can write the rest of it, but this is the easiest one to write, guys. In exam, if you don't know what to write, you choose the easiest one to study and choose the easiest one to write. Okay, so done with 3 marks, we're going to move to the next question. 11.4 shows different type of tomatoes. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of genetic modified foods towards human life. Of course, right now the food that we are taking, most of the food that we are taking is actually genetic modified food. Right now, at this current moment, we don't have any disadvantage yet. I mean, to human body lah, okay, we don't know yet. Okay, yet is a yet lah, okay. Maybe in the future we will see the disadvantages. The advantages is you can produce larger amount with a lower price and with a better quality, higher nutrition. These are the advantages of using genetic modified food. So, and the food, it can be bigger, it can be higher quality, higher nutrition. The disadvantage, it could be, it will be maybe certain gene, the bad gene transfer to the body, or maybe they are pest resistance. So maybe the more that we eat, maybe we could be pest resistant or whatever, herbicide resistant. So the disadvantage actually is lesser, more on advantage. So you can write 3 disadvantages and 2 advantages. So you can get 5. If you want to write 3 also can, but no, don't have write so many. So for advantages, advantages, you can write the cost of food reduces, the production increases, the nutrients content in food increases, and then you can say increase quality of food. The disadvantages, you can write the natural species will be threatened, and then you can say it causes human resistance to antibiotic due to unforeseen genetic mutation. We don't know yet. Actually, we really don't know yet. We don't know what is the disadvantage of eating too much of genetic modified food. If you are worried, it's okay. I live longer life than you. If I'm still surviving in this earth, it means that you can still eat the food. Okay, if you want to write another one, also you can write possibility of genetic modified gene transfer to human. But we don't know yet, actually. We really don't know yet. Most of the food that we eat right now is all mostly genetic modified. The rice, the vegetable, everything is genetic modified. But it's yummy, right? I mean, it's yummy, then it's no problem. Okay, next, E. 11.5 shows an information related to allergy-free milk. Okay, in 2012, a company owned by the New Zealand government engineered a cow to produce milk without beta-lactoglobulin protein that may cause allergy, which is lactose-free milk actually. This cow is known as genetic modified organism. Suggest a technique in genetic engineering to produce allergy-free milk. Describe your answer. This one we have to describe. How do we genetic modify? We have to take the gene out and human gene out. We combine together so that we have no allergy. The way to produce this is very similar to produce insulin actually. If you remember how to produce insulin, it's a bit similar to that. But insulin, we use bacteria. Bacteria has plasmid. But this one is just a cell from the cow. So when we write the answer, we can just write that the technique is called DNA recombinant technology. It's same as how we're going to produce an insulin. So you can see using DNA recombinant technology, and then you can say a human gene is inserted into cow's genetic information to form recombinant DNA, production of new gene combination. The cow produces milk that does not contain the beta lactoglobulin. So it's actually a lactose intolerance lah. And then last one, this cow is known as transgenic organism. Transgenic organism. Okay, so this is how it works. Actually, I have few more state paper that we did I did last year and the year before. You can also watch if you want to. Because you know you have 2 weeks, and then next week if you only take physics and maths, you only have 2 subjects left for next week. So meanwhile, if you need more guidance of doing your paper 2, you can watch my playlist of state paper. I have last year's state paper. I also do Mrsm, and the year before you can also watch, so you have more guidance. So I think this is the end of the paper. Any question you can still ask me right now. For my own student, we have class next week on Sunday. We have 6-hour class for my student. So if you have any question you can ask me. No question, then thanks for attending the class. Hopefully that you guys do well for biology. Hopefully that I help you guys better to understand biology. Okay, if you have any question, I will stay live for another 5 more minutes until 3 p.m. If it's not, then I will just end the meeting at 3. Okay, good luck for your exam, guys. Thanks for attending the class. Good luck for your physics. Good luck for your maths. Good luck for your bio and maths. Okay, bye-bye. If you have no question, I will continue to stay here for you to ask me question if you have question for you to ask. Okay, yes, no, 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 yes, no, yes, yes, no, or just wait. Okay, if you have no question, then I will see you in my class. If you're my student, no, then I will see you when I see you. Okay, bye Jiayue, bye Kaho, bye Yufei, bye Hui-Yi, bye Jesslyn. All the student I read is my own student. Okay, see you guys. Hopefully that you still have time. 3 p.m. you can go for your physics class right now. Hello, bye Ziling. 时间刚刚好啊。Bye T-Vash. Bye the rest of you. Okay, I'll give you guys 3 more minutes if you have any question to ask. I'll wait for you guys. Remember to study, guys, to study well for biology. It's not a subject that is very hard for you to score. If you work well for the 2 weeks time and your basic is not so bad, you can actually score A+. Okay, you can actually score A+. If your basic is actually very bad, you can. I mean, if you never passed your bio before, within these 2 weeks, which is next week, not 2 weeks, actually it's only 1 week lah. Okay, 1 week minus the days that you can only study, you can still pass your bio. If you are aiming for A+, you need to do paper 1 more, because people tend to lose a lot of mark in paper 1. Bye, Tom. Will the live be posted? Yes, the live will be posted, so you can actually replay. Don't worry. So if your result is usually C and you are trying to aim A, definitely you can. You just have to work harder within this 1 week. After your, I think it's your max, right? Max is on Thursday, is it? After your max, you just work harder to study for bio. I mean, bio, I think it's max or physics, I forgot already. So of course you don't forget about your chemistry lah, guys. Whichever that you think you need more help, then you study the subject. But you don't just study one subject, you study every subject that you think that you need help. You have a lot of way to get state paper online, so you just try the state paper, especially paper 1. When you score well for paper 1, definitely you can score well in exam. Okay, no question, then I will hopefully see you guys when I see you guys. Good luck for your exam. Thanks for attending the class again. Bye bye guys. Bye bye. Bye bye bye. Bye.